Okay, shall I start?
Yes, sir.
Okay, today we are dealing with the third unit, that is traffic engineering and its control. Okay, see, this is very small unit. Okay, and the another thing is that here you have to memorize some definitions because it is full theoretical, no numericals in it. Okay, no numericals. The thing is that you have to memorize, okay, some of the definitions, and the important thing is that mode of exam, okay, or mode of paper, whether it is your offline mode or online mode. Okay, see, if it is offline mode means then easily you can get full marks in this unit because see, on taking the technical words, okay, you can stretch the answer. But in online mode, the thing is that you have to memorize the whole thing. For example, he may ask the definition of the traffic volume or traffic density or different types of factors. These you have to memorize. But if it is an offline mode means it will not be that much difficult for this unit because it is full theoretical. Only the thing is that you have to remember some of the factors, some of the definitions, and some of the important terms. That's it. If it is offline mode means by seeing, if suppose if he asks define the traffic density, okay, you can write with the help of the technical words or technicality words. Okay, with the help of this, you can fetch the full marks in this unit. But if it is MCQs, online mode means you have to remember the exact definitions and exact terms in that definitions. Okay, they may here, for example, in traffic volume and traffic density, it seems the same, but the terms, the important terms or important word in these definitions matters a lot. So just remember that you have to memorize this unit because it is full of theory and a very small unit, and it is not that very difficult one. It is the unit that you see in a daily life. Okay, much not much apart from your head or out of your mind. Everything is easy. Just you have to remember the terms, terminologies, and some definitions. Okay, therefore we will start with the definition. Traffic engineering is nothing but it is a branch. Okay, it is a branch of civil engineering which deals with the measuring the traffic. Okay, here what you do, you measure the traffic. Okay, after measuring the traffic, what you do, you just plan, okay, how the traffic should be circulated. Then what you do after planning, what you do designing. After designing, operating system. Okay, it is a branch of science of civil engineering which deals with the measuring the traffic, planning, designing, and operating system. For what case? For the safe operation, safe and efficient movement. Just remember the important definition that it is a branch which deals with the measuring the traffic. First, what we will do, we will measure the traffic. According to the measurement, what we will plan, okay, how the traffic should be divided, circulated, or distributed. According to the planning, then we will go for designing, whether there should be a flyover, underpass, or any other different thing. And then operating systems, it may be a traffic controlling, traffic signals, whatever, or road humps, signs, signboards, etc. All these things is done because for safe and efficient movement, okay, of it may be of a person or goods. Okay, just remember the definition. So the thing is that what we learn in this unit is that here the first thing we will see road user characteristics, okay, and also road characteristics also, and road characteristics. It means that how the road user means we the people, how What are the factors that influence the traffic engineering or traffic controlling, and road characteristics, how the road should be. Okay. The second one will be vehicle characteristics. Okay. Vehicle characteristics means what should be the length, what should be the height, what should be the width of the vehicles. Okay. If it is a single duck or double duck, if it is a tractor, trail with a trailer, whatever. So in vehicle characteristics, we will see these things. Next one, traffic flow. In this traffic flow, what we will learn? We will learn about the traffic density, traffic intensity, traffic flows, volume, etc. Okay. Here we have some important definitions. Okay. The next one is traffic volume study. Fifth one, okay, we have different types of speeds. Okay, we will study the speed of the vehicles. The next one is origin and destination study. It is the most important thing. And if your paper is offline mode, okay, this question will be asked 100%. Okay, this will be your this will be the guarantee question that will come in the offline paper. Origin and destination study. The next one, parking study. And accident studies. Here, as these factors, okay, or the element, you can call it as elements, by seeing only you can write uh, on your own words, okay. Road user characteristics, vehicle, traffic flow, speed, the origin and destination, parking, you know, accidents, you know, and signals are there, okay. Signals are there, signboards are there, lights are there, okay, different types of light, whether it is a fluorescent or a filament light, LED light, whatever. So these in this unit we are going to study all these 8 elements or parameters. So the first thing is we will go for the road user characteristics, and one thing, don't confuse with road user characteristics and road characteristics. Okay, first we will go for road, how the road user should be there and how the road should be there. Okay, we will go one by one. Just remember these elements. The first one, road user characteristics. See, this one can further be divided into, user means we, the persons. Okay, it may be divided into physical, mental ability of that person, psychological, and environmental factor. Okay, we have these different types of or different factors that affects the road user characteristics. If in exam or in MCQs, if he asks which are the road user characteristics, okay, he will just mention any three, okay, and the last option may be none of these, or it may be all of the above. Okay, just remember here simultaneously I will be going for the MCQs and for your offline mode also. Okay, so in MCQs he may ask what are the means he will the question may be what are the factors affecting the road user characteristics, and the options will be physical, mental, and environmental, and the last option will may be all of the above. Or suppose it may be like friction, hardness and smoothness, surface of the surface slope, and mental. Okay, the option will be the mental. Just remember these 4 important road user characteristics. Okay, so what I will do, I will take the first one, that is physical. Okay, the physical, here the physical factor can be further divided into vision, hearing, and strength. See, the one person who is driving, he should have a good vision. Okay. Without a good vision, he can't drive. Okay. So, for example, if you wear specs, okay, if you wear specs and if you go for the RT office for applying the DL, okay, so he what the person, the inspector standing there, he will say that bring the eye medical certificate, okay, that you have a good vision. So the person who is wearing the specs, he will directly go to the hospital and he will bring the eye fitness certificate, okay, and there he will give it, and there will be a range of 6 by 12, okay. 6 means a person can easily read. I will write in this name where 6 by 12. It is a standard. The person, 6 means the person can easily read, okay, the letter which is 6 meter away from him, okay. Suppose here there is a board and here there is a person sitting and the distance between this is 6 meter, such that he is capable of reading the any letter which is away from him at a distance of 6 meter. And what this 12 meter indicates is that he can normally read. Means he can just close his little bit eye just to contract the light and read the letter. Means 6 by 12 is nothing but the person can normally or capably or easily read the letter which is 6 meter away from him, and at the 12 meter indicates that which he can normally see the letter. Okay. The next one is hearing. Okay. And in vision also, while driving during the night time, okay, he should have the good visibility also. Okay. The next one is hearing. He should have a good hearing capacity, okay, such that the horns or the vehicle coming back behind him, he can hear the horn carefully or easily. The next strength of means the ability of the person to handle the situation. So these all comes under the physical. Next, here only I will explain. We have finished with this physical. Mentally means he should we have learned about means in second unit we have seen the psychological and mental ability of the person for the designing of SSD and FRSSD, correct. So mental, he should be mentally able uh, to overcome the situation which is in front of him or behind him, or it may be any crucial or critical conditions. Psychological means here again the same thing. Psychological, it can be said as it may be a motivation, okay. Then intelligence and emotions, the same what we have seen in the second unit. The next one is environmental factors. Environmental factor, it may be of a mixed traffic. One second. Environmental condition, it can be atmospheric condition, okay. It may be a weather, it may be a mixed traffic. We can't judge. Okay. It may be of different activities. Okay. So these are some factors which affect the environment. Atmospheric conditions, it may be uh, rainy season or weather. It may be means these two will affect here. It may be a rainy or it may be a snow, whatever. So in mixed traffic, it may be a light traffic or heavy traffic, and different activities will be some strikes or blockage, failure of roads. These all comes under the environmental conditions. Okay. The second one, we will go for road characteristics. We have seen about the road user characteristics. We will see about the road characteristics. Just remember, in road user characteristics, we have physical, psychological, mental, and environmental. Okay, just remember. In road characteristics, again, we can divide it into four parts. The first one will be friction. If you open the formulas in the second unit, if you see, we have a F factor, okay, in each and every formula. So road user characteristics, the main important will be the friction. Second one will be the hardness and smoothness of the road. Smoothness, light reflection, and surface slope. See, the first one I will take it as a friction. Can anyone tell where we have used F? It means in we have n number of formulas, right? In n number of formulas, where we have used the factor F. The one is in SSD we have used F. The second one in overtaking side distance also we used F. In designing of super elevations also we used F. Okay. So the frictions plays a vital role, more important role. It may be in stopping side distance, safe road, super elevation, or turning distance, or sometimes in safe load also. Okay. Then and it is also helps in our skidding of the vehicle. Okay. We have skid, we have slip. You know what is skid and what is slip. Skid is nothing but the rotation of the vehicle will be arrested, but the vehicle will moving in the linear direction. I will repeat what is skid. Skid is nothing but the rotation of the vehicle will be stopped due to application of the brake. Even after application of the brake, the vehicle will move in the forward direction is nothing but the skid. For example, the boys who will do skidding near the corners of the road, okay, just they will apply and they will make the vehicle to skid along the road. Then what is slip? In slip, the linear movement will be arrested. Okay, the linear movement or the forward movement of the vehicle will be arrested, but the rotation of the vehicle will be there. For example, if there is any potholes in the road, and here it may be a mud, okay, and this is vehicle. If you apply the accelerator, the wheel will be rotating here only, but won't come forward. Okay, these are it is nothing but the slip. Okay, then we have hardness and smoothness of the road. Okay, uh, and we have seen evenness and unevenness surface of the road in previous unit. The same it explains. Okay, even I have explained the light reflection characteristics. Okay, that is headlight or street lights. Okay, surface slope, that is camber. Okay, these are nothing but the road characteristics. Just remember, in road characteristics we have friction, hardness or smoothness, light reflection characteristics, and surface slope. Surface slope is nothing but the camber. We have seen all these in the previous unit. The next important thing is that vehicle characteristics. Vehicular characteristics. See, here we have chances of getting MCQs. Okay, just remember the standards of IRC. Okay, what should be the length, what should be the width. Okay, I can give 90% of one MCQs will come from this vehicle characteristics. So in vehicle characteristics, we have different factors, that is axle and wheel load, wheelbase, height of the vehicle, width of the vehicle, minimum turning radius, axial spacing, overall length. Okay. So we will go for ISC standards. The first one is width. Okay. And IRC recommends that the maximum width of the vehicle should be 2.44 meter. This is the front. Okay, this is the front view. The maximum width should be 2.44 meter. Then height. Here we have single deck, double deck. Okay. For single deck, he says IRC says that it should be of maximum 3.8 meter height, and if it is double deck, it should be 4.70 meters. Okay. Apart from that, you can't provide the height of the vehicle. Then length. See here, in length we have again four factors. Single unit with two axles. You know what is axle? Okay. These are the axles if you see from the bottom. Okay. These are the axles. So the length should be for single unit two axles, it should be 10.7 meters. Single unit with more than two axles. More than two axles, it should be 12.2 meters. Tractors with semi-trailers, the length should be 15.2 meters. Tractor and trailer combination, it should be 18.3 meters. Okay, just remember width should be maximum. Okay, these are the maximum values. Maximum it should be 2.44 meters. The only the thing is, for these all values we don't have any shortcuts, just you have to memorize or you should keep it in your mind. The width should be 2.44 meter. The height, if it is a single deck, it should be 3.80 meter. If it is a double deck, it should be 4.70 meters. Okay. Then length. If you come for the single unit, okay, this is a single unit. If it is attached by anything, it will be the double unit. Okay, single unit with two axle, it should be 10.7 meters. Single unit with more than two axles, it should be 12.2 meters. For tractor with semi-trailers, it will be 15.2 meters, and tractor with trailer, it should be 18.3 meters. Then we have, and some other factors are there. That is power of the vehicle, vehicle speed, headlight, braking capacity of that vehicle, vision, weight of the vehicle. See here, weight of the vehicle, IRC recommended that it should be 8165 kgs. Okay. And in later they have increased by 25%, and they say that the weight should be not more than 10,000 kgs. Okay. Or you can write it as 10 tons. This can be 1.65 tons. Okay. Height of the vehicles. Height of the vehicle we have seen. Okay. Power of the vehicle. Power of the vehicle is which affects the speed of the vehicle. So if you take the Lamborghini, and uh, Nano. Okay, Lamborghini have a high 16 cylinder vehicle. Okay, this is a single cylinder which is also 800 cc. Okay, if you compare between these two, okay, the vehicle Lamborghini having a high power or a high horsepower, it directly indicates that the speed of the vehicle is more. Nano, which is having 800 cc engine, okay, which indicates that it is having the less power. It means that the speed of the vehicle is less. Next, we have speed of the vehicles. Speed of the vehicles, which affects, you have seen, which affects the radius of the vehicle, radius of the roads, stopping side distance, overtaking side distance, super elevation. If you once open the formulas and you see, you will have the uh, parameter V, which is nothing but the design speed of the vehicle, which affects the radius, stopping side distance, overtaking side distance, super elevations, cade resistance, etc. Okay. Some even also in vertical alignment and horizontal alignment. Okay. Then we have headlights. Headlight affect the operation at night. Okay. It is coming in everywhere. Headlight means it affects the operation at night. Proper angle of headlight should be maintained. The one who knows to drive the car, they have faced this problem. Okay, this is a bus. Okay, and you are coming in a say Honda City. Okay, if I draw the diagram, okay, this is the bus and this is your Honda City. See, here you have your vision. Okay, but the headlight will be placed at your eye vision. Okay, so IRC recommends that the proper headlight position should be provided, and the angle of the means the beam coming out from the headlight, it should be provided in a very good manner, such that the no driver get affected by the vision or the headlight of due to the headlights. Then we have braking capacity. Braking capacity affects the stopping distance. Traffic capacity means overtaking distance, means SSD and OSD. Vision, you know, already know that vision affects the clear precipitation time of only obstructions coming in the way. Means you should have a good vision. That means if you have a good vision, means you can see the vehicles coming in front of you or behind you, or you can see the obstructions in front of you. Okay. In vehicle characteristics, we have length, width. Okay, we have length, width, height, power of the vehicle, vehicular speed, headlight, braking capacity, vision, and weight of the vehicle. See, by taking this word, for example, by taking the headlight, you can stretch and you can write anything in the means if the mode of the paper it is offline. Okay, if it is offline means you can take the means with the help of this word you can stretch in a technical word. I can write anything. But in MCQs, you have to remember the proper statement and you should choose the proper options also. Okay. Now we have finished with this one. Then we have traffic characteristics. Okay. We have finished road user characteristics, road characteristics, then vehicle characteristics. Okay. Now we will deal with the traffic characteristics. See here in traffic characteristics, we have five important definitions. The thing is that just you have to remember these definitions. Apart from that, we don't have any much to deal with this. So first we will go for traffic density. Okay, and it is always given in vehicle per kilometers. Okay, just remember traffic density will be given in vehicle per uh, kilometers. And the traffic density, it is defined as just hear it carefully. Traffic density is the number of vehicle occupying a unit length of a lane. Okay. Suppose this is our road. Okay. And this is a single lane road. Okay. Just remember, it is the number of vehicle occupying a unit length of lane at a given instant. Okay. This is the number of vehicles occupying a unit length means you can take it as a 1 kilometer or 100 kilometer means you are taking single unit. Okay. And this is what about the traffic density. The next one we have traffic capacity. It is defined as the ability of a road to accommodate the traffic volume. Means how much vehicles that does this road can hold it. Okay. It may be of 100 vehicles per kilometer, 200 vehicles per kilometer, or 20 vehicles per kilometer. Means capacity. We are dealing with the capacity. Here density means number of vehicles per unit length. Okay. Here capacity, the number of vehicles that a road can accommodate, is nothing but the road capacity. And it is given in terms of vehicles per hour per lane. Okay. Number of vehicles that accommodated per hour in a per lane. Just remember, if you don't remember the definition, you just remember the unit. Okay. Vehicle per kilometers, which you give the density. The capacity means the vehicle, number of the vehicles that accommodate per hour for a per lane. Okay. Next we have basic capacity. We have seen with the traffic density. We have seen with the traffic capacity. Then the next one is basic capacity. Okay. It is defined as the maximum number of passenger cars that can pass a given point on a lane during 1 hour under the most nearly ideal road conditions. Means basic capacity that, and here I am taking the ideal condition. Means it is 100% good road without any disturbance, without any blockage, whatever. Okay. So here the number of vehicles, okay, that the number of passengers are that can pass a given point. The given point I have taken it as a x6. Okay. The number of vehicle the number of passengers car that passes a point on a roadway during 1 hour. During 1 hour, how many number of vehicles that are passing through this point is nothing but the basic capacity. Similarly, the possible capacity. Here, the possible capacity means we are not taking the ideal conditions. Here we have taken the ideal condition means the good condition, but here we are not taking the ideal condition. So here it will be the maximum number of vehicles that can pass a given point during 1 hour under prevailing road conditions. Means not a ideal conditions. See here what we are doing, we are calculating the number of vehicles which pass. I will take this at a particular point passing a roadway under prevailing conditions or unideal conditions. The last definition is that practical capacity. Here the maximum number of vehicles that can pass, okay, a given point without traffic density being so crucial, okay, can call means Here the means we are getting the actual numbers. Here these are on the theoretical basis, these are on the practical basis. The number of vehicles passing the given point, okay, with all the conditions. Just remember these five definitions, okay, that is traffic density, traffic capacity, basic capacity, possible capacity, and practical capacity. Anybody have doubt up to this point? Comment Y or no, Y or N. Up to the traffic capacity, traffic characteristics. Anybody have doubts? Okay. And we have a small for numericals. I hope they won't ask, but no, we can't take the risk here. So we have a simple formula, that is determination of maximum capacity, or you can call it as a theoretical capacity. How we will determine the capacity, means maximum capacity or the theoretical capacity. It is given by C equals to 1000 into V divided by S, where C is nothing but the capacity of single lane in vehicle per hour, and V is the speed in kilometer per hour, and S is the average center to center spacing of the vehicle. C is nothing but capacity, V is the speed in kilometer per hour, and S is the center to center distance between the two vehicles. Okay. And suppose if it is given with the minimum headway, headway means the formula will be 3600 divided by HT. HT is nothing but the minimum time headway in second. Means, see, here you have stuck with, this is this side view, okay. Vehicles are moving in this direction. The time required for a car to move, okay, forward in terms of second, how many seconds it will take to move forward is nothing but the minimum headway, okay. HT is nothing but the minimum headway, which is given in terms of seconds. See here we have got this, we have to determine the C. So the V will be obviously given, we have to determine the S. So S, how we will determine this, we have the formula that suppose it is stopping side distance, SG, it is given by 0.278 into V into T. Suppose he asks for OSD, overtaking side distance, SG is given by 0.278 V into T plus L. Okay. So we have some numericals. Just I will solve it here only. Just remember, 95% he won't ask. Not a single time he asked in the examination. Just, but we don't want to take any chances. So how to determine the maximum capacity? Okay. The numerical will be like this. Determine the theoretical capacity of the traffic lane with one-way traffic at a stream of speed. Here he has given 50 kilometer per hour. Assume the average space gap between the two vehicles to the following to the relation SG. To determine the SG, he says take this relation where V is the stream speed in kilometer per hour, T is the average reaction time. He has given 0.7 seconds. Also assume the average length of the vehicle. Average length of the vehicle he has given 5.1 meter. So we have to determine, we have the formula C equals to 1000 into V upon S. So we know the value of V, but we don't know the value of S. How we will calculate the S? We have S equals to 0.278 V into T plus L. So just directly substitute here. 50 time reaction is given 0.7 plus L it is to 5.1. S equals to 14.83 meter. We have got the value of S, just substitute here. In C equals to 1000 into V will be 50 divided by S value we have got 14.83. Therefore, C will be 3372 vehicle per hour per lane. Okay. Nothing much more to deal with here. Just we have to determine only the value of S. So we have the formula, just substitute and just calculate the capacity. And just remember the unit will be vehicle per hour per lane. Okay. Then we have speed characteristics. Here we have 5 types of speeds. One is running speed, as the name indicates the definitions. Okay. Running speed, operating speed. The only the thing is that you have to remember these different types of speeds or different types of factors affecting. Okay. Most of the thing will word itself indicates the definition. The spot speed, journey speed, then cruising speed. Okay. Running speed is nothing but it is the average or a mean speed which can be maintained over a given route at a time of a motion of a vehicle is nothing but the running speed. Operating speed, it will be sustainable running speed at which driver can travel according to the existing features of the traffic and environmental condition is nothing but the traffic operating speed. Means according to the existing features like traffic conditions and environmental conditions, how you maintain the speed is nothing but the operating speed. Spot speed, as the name indicates, instantaneous speed or a sudden speed of the vehicle on the pavement at a specified spot. Okay, at a certain spot, if you determine the speed of the vehicle, suppose it is a 79 km per hour, it is nothing but the spot speed. Journey speed, it is nothing but the overall speed with which a vehicle travels within the given road between the any two terminals. Okay, it is nothing but the journey speed. Cruising speed is nothing but when the atmospheric conditions are the only speed controlling factors, then running speed of an unpaired vehicle is nothing but the cruising speed. Suppose if you are going, if you are encountered with atmospheric conditions, then your running speed will be automatically controlled. It is nothing but the cruising speed. So just remember these different 5 types of speeds. Okay, these are most important. He may ask the definitions. He don't have any options. Just he may ask the definitions. Then we have origin and destination survey. Origin and destination survey. See, the person is going from a place A to the place B. This will be the origin and this will be his destination. Okay. You will see in terminals like bus stops, metro stations. Okay. Origin, destinations. You will see now. This is the origin and destination. But what we are dealing with the survey. Okay. And there are 3 purposes why we should do. Means planning of road network. The first one is planning of why the OSC survey should be done, because the planning of the road network. The second one, schedules between the schedules of different mode of transportations. Schedule, then determination of the vehicle traffic, determination of vehicle traffic. These are the three main purposes why we should go for the origin and destination survey. And applications. First, what I will do, uh, I will explain the method of collecting the methods of collecting OD survey. Means how you will collect the information. We have different methods to collect the information. If you further, if you get any jobs in the road constructions, the six means the thing what you are studying now, it will be most important for you if you get a job in road construction. See, you want to determine if you want see this is an city, okay, and you want to start means construct a road. Okay, you just can't randomly connect means from one end to another end. There should be a proper network such that it reaches the important locations and means there will be a number of people who needs the traffic, means who needs the road network, and the traffic should be distributed, and some terminals and important places. So how you will form the road network, from where the road should start and from the where the road should end. So the method of collecting those information is that home interview method. The first one is home interview. As the name indicates, we will go to the doorstep, the person or the engineer or maybe any person who will he will go to the door, means he will go to home and he will ask the person, or he will ask the person in the home, means daily where you work, means the more sorry, from where to where you travel. He will say that means I'm office means I'm an engineer. So what I will do, I will travel from my home to office, and the office which is located in near the Swargate. For example, I'm taking the Pune only. It is located in the Swargate. So the person who went, he will take the information. Means okay, this person he is traveling from Kharadi to Swargate, and he will go to the another station, and he will ask from where you are going. He will say that I am going from Kharadi to Dole Patil Road. Okay. Similarly, he will collect all the information. That too by going door to door, which is called as home interview method. The next one is that roadside interview. Means there will be a group of people uh, and they will take some locations, and they what they will do, they will ask each and every person who are going, means at the it may be at the signal stops, it may be at the walk streets. There they will go and they will ask the persons from where, and from where to where you are traveling. So they will collect the information, which is called as the roadside interview. The next one is that return postcard method. Return postcard method means there will be a postcard, okay, and here there will be all information. For example, name, address, okay, origin, destinations, mode of transportation he used, and there will be n number of things. And the government what they will do, or the agency what they will do, they just randomly distribute to all the residentials and other places in that locality. And the person who receives this postcard, he will fill all the information, and this card will be means initially will be paid by the agencies or the government. Just what the person what they will do, he will just fill the information, and directly he will post it, and he is not it is not um, and he should not pay anything for the postcard because it is already paid by the agencies or the government. Okay, so in return post method, what they will do, they just all fill the informations and they just put in the post box, and it will directly go to the government or any agencies who is doing this service. Okay, in return postcard method, this is how they will follow. The next one is license plate method. License plate method. In license plate method, I know only about Pune. MH12. Okay, MH12 indicates that it is for Maharashtra, Pune. Okay, and what about Bombay? Anyone? Bombay? Anyone? Uh, Bombay is 01. Okay, that is for south, and for east it is MH03. Okay, like this. Okay, just they will see the number plate and they will indicate the okay, this vehicle is coming from this this city, this district, like that. Okay, this is not nothing but the license plate method. The next one, the fifth one, it is tag on car method. Tag on car method. Here what they will do, just I will take a single road. Okay, here the car is starting here somewhere. Okay, I will take a new page. Okay, these are the different networks. Okay, I will call this one as A, this one as B, and this one as C. Okay, here there is a car. What in the car on tag method, what they will do, just they stick a tag on the car, and the tag indicates everything, means from where it is originating. Okay, just the simply the car may go in the road A, or it may be go in the road B or road C, whatever, but the another person standing at the another and terminal point or the destination point, just by seeing that car, he will stop the car and he will take the tag, and he will come to know that from where it has came. Okay, and this destination will be obviously the at this point. Similarly, another car which is coming from here and stopping at this point, the person at this point collect the tag and he will come to know that origin and destination. Similarly, the person standing at another point, he will get come to know that the origin and destination. Okay, these are the some methods how they will collect the informations regarding the origin and destinations. Just remember, one is the home interview, means doorstep. Okay, roadside interview. Third one is return post. Fourth one is license plate, tag on car, and another one is work spot interview method. Work spot method means the where they are working, they will ask the informations. Means they will spot the means work spot means they will go to offices. Okay, factories, educational means some come to the colleges, schools, public buildings. Okay, there they will go and they will collect the information. Work spot interview method. So these are the some six methods of collecting origin and destination survey. Then why we should conduct these origin and destination? What are the applications of this origin and destination surveys? See, origin and destinations, it will help in the determination of the existing road, sorry, existing routes, and if you are planning for any new network, plan for new network. The next one is that It is used in planning of transportation systems. Okay. Which type of transportation we should provide, whether it is a bus, train, or metro. It may be any types of transportation systems. Next one, whether the existing road require new bridges or any there should be for a new road there should be any bridges or underpasses, culverts like that. Okay, it may be for new one or for the existing one. Then, if there is a rapid movement of the vehicle and there is a huge volume, then is there any necessary of providing expressway? So we will come to know whether we need to provide the expressway or not. Next, culverts, if there are any culverts required, okay, and it will give the information about the intermediate stops, okay, intermediate stops or junctions. Okay. These are the some applications of the origin and destination survey. Uh, it's 11:36. Okay. Take 10 minutes rest, okay? And I have left with the parking studies and traffic signals, okay? We will come back at 11:50, okay? Is that okay at 11:50? Or shall I finish it? Hardly I need 15 to 20 minutes. Shall I finish it or we need a break?
Sir, finish it now only.
Okay. Hardly I need 15 minutes. Okay, I will finish it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Wait, I will take some tablets. Only 1 minute. Okay. We will see the parking studies. You know why parking is important? Parking of the vehicles. Say this is the road. If you park the vehicle in between the means at the side of the road without any proper alignment or proper directions, then it will leads to the traffic jam. Okay, or it may be lead to undisturbed vehicle movement also. So the study of the traffic parking is also plays a more important role. So here some of the objectives, okay, of parking studies are to make the necessary improvement in the existing parking systems. Okay, necessary improvements in the parking facilities. The second point will be the determination of location, size, construction, finance, and operation of the vehicle terminal facilities. Okay, Suppose the vehicle says the bus is coming and it is terminating at this point, then the proper parking facility should be provided at the terminals. If not, it will leads to the traffic jams. To gain the information of demand and supply of the parking facilities. And the fourth one will be to optimize the existing area for parking by proper planning. Here in parking, we have different types of parkings. Okay, suppose this is the road. Parallel group parking. Parallel group parking means, see, the vehicle will be parked. Sorry, one second. First one is parallel group parking. Second one is right angle parking. Third one is oblique. Fourth one is parallel. Group is nothing but the curb, okay? Parking, that to alternate. The first one, suppose this is the road, okay? This will be the parallel right angle parking, okay? The vehicles are parked at the right angles to the road. Parallel group parking. Sorry. They will park along the parallels, okay? The next one is oblique, means it will be at the certain 30 degree. They will be parked like this. Okay. These are the different parking parameters, okay, parking styles. Then we have traffic controlling devices, the last concept. Traffic controlling devices, as the name indicates. See, what are the traffic controlling devices? The first one is road signs or traffic signs. Second one is markings. You can see the markings on the roads. Okay. The next one is signals. The next one is traffic islands. Okay. See, one by one. The first one is traffic. In traffic controlling devices, we have four parameters. That is, one is road signs, markings, signals, and traffic islands. In road signs, we have some regulatory signs, some warning signs, and some information signs. Okay. In regulation signs, okay, it is used to inform the road users, okay, to follow some certain rules. Okay, regulatory signs. Warning signs means we have seen some warnings like don't horn, one way, okay, no turning, like that. Information signs will be like school ahead, hospitals, okay, petrol bunks. Those are some of the information signs. Information signs, you can have some hospitals also, okay, public booth, parking signals, like that. In warning, we have side road left, side road right, level crossing, okay, narrow bridge, like that. Okay. The next one we have markings. Okay, here we have curb markings. If you see the pictures, you will come to know curb marking means. See, I will take the section. Okay, this is the road, and here you have some curves, okay, which will be painted with yellow or white or black or white. I will show the pic. You'll come to know. Curb markings, carriageway markings. These markings I will show the pic. You will directly come to know. It will be marked with the yellow and white or black or white. So here you can see it is marked with yellow or black. Okay, white or black. Okay, these are nothing but the curb markings. The next one we have carriageway marking. Okay, carriageway markings, center line. Okay, we have some discontinuous lines. It traffic lines, pedestrian crossings, stops lines. Okay, parking space lines, obstruction approaching lines. Here we can see the stop markings. Okay, these are some carriageway markings. You can see the center line markings also, traffic line markings, pedestrian markings. Okay, the markings which you see on the roads are called as the carriageway markings. Okay, then we have object markings. Okay, some object markings like this. These are called as some object markings. Then we have reflectory markings. Okay, these are the reflector markings. Then we have types of traffic signals. Okay, traffic control signals are there, pedestrian signals are there, and specific traffic signals are there. The important, I will show you traffic island. We can call it as a rotary island also. Near WTC you can see. Okay, these are called as some rotary. You can call it as a rotary islands also. You can call it as the traffic islands also. Okay, which will divert, which will slow down, and which will distribute the traffic uniformly. Okay, and it will be according to the space available. Okay, sometimes it will be trapezoidal, or sometimes it will be circular or semicircular. Okay, it will be depending upon the space available. These are called some of the rotary islands or some traffic islands. We have different shapes also. Okay, we have these different circular, squarish, elliptical, or rectangular shapes. Okay, we have different types of shapes. Then the important thing is that road accidents. Okay. See, road accident due to collision. Okay, accident due to collision. Here, it can be due to collision with pedestrians. Okay, it may be collision with another vehicle. Okay, it may be collision with the fixed object. Okay, accident due to collision. Collision means clash between the two objects. It may be with the pedestrian, it may be with the vehicle, it may be with the any fixed object. The second one is accident due to non-collision. It may be due to overturning of the roadway and due to overturning and running of the roadway. Okay. These are the some different types of accidents. Accident due to collision. We have collision with the pedestrian, collision with the vehicle, collision with the fixed object. Accident due to non-collision, it will be overturning the roadways, means while overtaking, means while turning, taking the turn. Okay, overturning and during the running of the vehicle, running of the roadway. Then we have left with street light. Okay, last concept. Highway lighting or street light. Last concept. So what are the design factors for a highway lighting? Is the lights which are provided at the roadsides. Okay, factors. The first one will be size, color, and brightness. Okay. The second one will be the contrast. The third one will be the driver's eye glare. The next one is lamps. The next one will be the lateral placement of the poles. Lateral placement of the poles means if this is the road, here one street lamp, here one other one, like this, or we have spacing of different spacing of the lamps. The next one, layouts of the lighting. Luminate distribution means how much the light has its power. Okay. Eighth one will be mounting height. Suppose this is your pole, you can't mount here. Okay. There should be a minimum height. That is nothing but the mounting height of the light. Next one, spacing between lighting units. Okay. The first one is size, color, and brightness. Okay. The night visibility depends upon the size, color, and the brightness of the object. Okay. Size, color, and the brightness plays a more vital important. You know what about the contrast? I have explained about the driver's eye also. Then in lamp we have different types of lamp. That is, in olden days we were using sodium vapor lamp. Okay, vapor lamp. Then we came with the tungsten lamp, tungsten filament lamp. The next we came with the mercury. mercury vapor lamp, and last one is fluorescent lamp. So in lamps we have different four types of lamps. One is the sodium vapor lamp, tungsten filament lamp, mercury vapor lamp, and fluorescent lamp. Okay. The next one is lateral placement of poles. Okay. IRC, here also we have some IRC recommendations that for road with raised curbs in urban roads, minimum horizontal clear is 0.3 meter and is desired as 0.6 from the edge of the raised curb. Suppose this is your road and here we have a curb. It should be at least 1 feet, okay, away from the curb, and from the means desirable you can provide up to 2 feet, means 1 feet means nothing but 0.3, 2 feet upon to 0.6. Okay. Then layout or arrangement of lamp. This one, it may be a single site light system, staggered, center line system, opposite light system. Okay. See, this is your road, and here we have a divider. Single side, whether you are providing, this is also curve, whether you are providing at a single side lamp or you are providing at the center, you are providing at the both the side or opposite side, those matters. Okay. In staggered, it will be one here, one here, one here. It means in zigzag way. Okay. Then we have left with luminous. Okay. It should be a good one, good light. Distribution of light should be such that it should cover the pavement between the curves. Okay. Luminar distribution of light. It should properly cover the entire width of the road. Okay. Mounting height. See, mounting height of the lamp varies from 6 meter to 9 meters. Okay. Uh, that too as per IRC. According to IRC, the mounting height should be between 6 meter to 9 meters. Then spacing of the lamp from one lamp to another lamp, it should be nearly or in between 35 to 55 meters. Okay. These will help for you for MCQs. Still, I will explain once more. Size, color, brightness plays a most important role. Contrast also. Driver's eyes. Lamps. We have 4 different types of lamps. Lateral placement of lamps. Of poles. You have single, opposite, center, or staggered. Okay. Layout of in layout it will come single, center, staggered, and opposite. In luminar distribution, it should cover the road entirely. That too, it should cover from 3 to 5 meters. Mounting height, it should be nearly from 6 to 9 meters according to IRC, and spacing it should be between, means from one pole to another pole, it should be nearly 35 to 55 meters. Okay. And there is a simple numericals on mounting height of the lamp. Just try it. If you won't get means, I will explain the next class. By here, your third unit has been completed. Anybody have doubts regarding this unit? This is very simple chapter. Try to read today only, such that it will be fixed in your mind. And if it is your offline mode, means it will directly help you fetching the full marks. Anybody have doubt? Anybody have doubt regarding this third unit? Just the only thing I have left with is that numericals on highway lightning. Okay. It is based on only a single formula. It is there, not a single time he has asked. But don't take a chance. Go through it. If you won't get means, I will explain in the next class. Apart from that, I have covered everything. Okay. No. Comment your roll numbers and you can leave the class. And one more thing, tomorrow shall I take the class or I will take after the festival? Tomorrow, can I take the class? Okay. Okay, you can leave the class.